What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna learn how to do a handstand. Alright guys, today I'm going to teach you how to do a handstand. Now before we get into the skill training part of learning a handstand, we need to acquire a good basis of strength, especially in our shoulders. Because with the handstand, our whole body weight is stacked and our shoulders are the main muscle that is responsible for holding up our body weight. Now the handstand is a full body exercise to remain balanced and stable and in good form. But a lot of the emphasis of holding yourself up is going to be on your shoulders. So before we even start getting into the skills training, I'm going to give you a routine that you can follow to strengthen your shoulders, whether you're a beginner or more advanced, so you can start learning your handstand. Alright guys, let's get into the strength training routine. So first, we're going to do pike walkouts / wall walks. Pike walkouts are going to be the beginner's version of this exercise because they're a lot easier and you're supporting a lot less of your weight, but they're very good for building stability in your shoulders. So to perform this exercise, you want to start by just standing straight up and putting your hands down on the floor. You're going to want to engage your shoulders and slightly protract them as well, which means after you engage them, you want to slightly round forward like this. So keep those shoulders engaged the whole time, slightly protracted, and you're going to simply walk yourself out, keeping your core and glutes engaged, of course. Once you reach the bottom, you're going to walk yourself right back up, and then you'll repeat for reps. That is the beginner's version of this exercise. It is very good for building stability in their shoulders, which is very helpful for your handstands. Now here is the more advanced version of this. What you're going to want to do is the same thing. You're going to want to engage your shoulders, slightly protract them, but instead of just keeping your feet where they are, you're going to put them up on the wall like this, and you're going to stand yourself up on the wall. Get as close to the wall as you can for your starting point, and then you're going to want to simply walk yourself out, keeping your core and glutes tight. Walk as far as you can, and then walk right back up. Oh my God. These wall walks are honestly my favorite exercise for building stability and strengthening my shoulders, because the burn you feel is just so great, because they're so taxing on your shoulders, because that's the primary muscle that is being used. I'm out of breath right now, but they're very, very effective. Now let's get into the next exercise. I'm going to grab my parallettes or parallel bars, push-up bars, same thing. The next exercise to help strengthen your shoulders for handstands is going to be pike push-ups, which I'm sure a lot of you guys watching know this exercise. But they are very good for building your pressing strength and just building a lot of strength in your shoulders, which is going to be very helpful for your handstand and as well to learn new skills revolving around your handstand down the road. So what this exercise looks like, you're going to start basically in a downward dog position. So you want to, of course, engage your shoulders and slightly protract. Keep your core engaged, and then you're going to want to lean forward, keeping your elbows tucked, and you want to aim your head a little bit in front of your hands, so you're basically making a triangle. Because if you go straight down, you're just going to cause your elbows to flare, and that's going to put a lot of unwanted stress on your shoulders. So You want to go by leaning forward, aiming for that triangle position, and then press right back up. Just like that, keeping your shoulders engaged the whole time. Now that's the basic version of this exercise. Now to advance this exercise, what you can do is elevate your feet, which means more your body will be stacked. So you can like put them up on a sofa, on a stool, really anything you can find to elevate your feet. Or one of the versions of this exercise I've been doing is dive bomber, pike push-ups, which you're commonly supposed to do it with your feet elevated, but I've been doing it just regularly, which you basically just go like this. You have your shoulders engaged and protracted. Then you lean forward to that triangle position, but then you extend like this, kind of into a 90-degree handstand push-up position, and then press all the way back up, just like that. So that's another version of this exercise that you can do to really help build strength in your shoulders. Now let's get into the final exercise of this little strength training routine, which is going to be handstand shoulder taps. I remember when I was first learning how to do a handstand, I remember doing this exercise all the time because it just really helps to strengthen your shoulders, because it'll have you using one shoulder at a time. And of course, when you're just learning a handstand, you're not going to be able to do full on the wall with all your body weight. So what you can do is pike, hold, shoulder taps, which are going to be like this, basically the same position as a walkout or as a pike push-up, actually a downward dog position. Engage your shoulders, slightly protract, squeeze as hard as you can, and then just shoulder tap. And keep those elbows tucked as well. Shoulder tap. This will really focus on that shoulder stability, which is probably one of the most important things for a handstand. And then the more advanced version, which would be handstand shoulder taps, will just look like this. It's the same exact form with your shoulders. Engage your shoulders, keep your elbows tucked, slight protraction, and then you want to go from one shoulder to the next. Alright guys, so this is the strength training routine. I know it's kind of short, but I'm sure a lot of you are doing other styles of training, and really all you need to really strengthen your shoulders are a few exercises, because of how taxing these are. You don't want to be doing too much more. Oh my god, I'm so out of breath. But a lot of these exercises, a lot of you beginners are going to use it, is to build a basis of strength for handstand, but as well, you can use these exercises to build more strength for your handstand to improve it in the long run once you finally learn it. Like my favorite exercises was those wall walks, which I use all the time to strengthen my shoulders, especially in the fitness program I just bought, because they're just such a great exercise. Alright guys, now let's get into the skills training part of learning the handstand. Alright guys, let's get right into the skills training. So for the handstand, what you want to do first is obviously get comfortable with holding it. In my opinion, like there's two ways you can hold a handstand using the wall. That's how you always start. You get comfortable doing the movement by using assistance. So you can do it this way. You can use the wall by kicking up. But I personally don't like that way, because your legs are coming back over your shoulders, which means your back is not arching, but yeah. So, and that's not really good alignment that you want in your handstand. So I think it's better to practice your handstand chest to wall, which means it's basically like this. And you can start farther away from the wall make sure your abs are engaged. Same thing form as the wall walks and everything. You want your shoulders engaged, locked out, tucked, slight protraction, and you want your abs engaged and your glutes squeezed. And first you can start like this, further off the wall. And as you get stronger, you go closer and closer until you can hold yourself on the wall pretty much straight. And then once you get comfortable with this, what you're going to want to do is gradually come off. And when your feet is coming over, you want to squeeze your fingertips together. And then just gradually come off and go back on. So one of the biggest things with your handstand is the balance. And the balance basically all goes through your fingers. So when you're doing it on the ground, to balance, you have to, it's all about squeezing and releasing your fingers. So in some instances, like if you feel yourself going over, like your legs are coming over, you want to squeeze, and that's going to pull your body back. Or if your legs are coming down, you're going to want to release. So I'll demonstrate here so you can kind of see, watch how my fingers squeeze and release depending on if my legs are coming over, and just throughout the movement just to maintain balance. And that's another thing, you're gonna fail a lot of times. Still happens when you try and do handstand. See how my fingers are squeezing and releasing to keep my legs from either going over or coming back. That's basically what you want to get used to when you gradually let your feet off the wall, like I was just doing a second ago. And this is very hard on your wrists. You're definitely going to want to make sure you strengthen your wrists and take care of them. Do stretches after workouts. Maybe even use wrist wraps is a good idea. Alright, so now is the next part of the handstand that you're going to want to learn is how to get into it, which is going to be the handstand kick up. So first, you're going to want to practice on the wall. Now this is the only time I'll do a back to wall handstand to practice my kick ups. Basically, you want to have one foot forward, which this foot is going to be your push leg. So whichever leg you feel more comfortable with, you're going to start out with, and you're going to simply lean towards the wall and push up like that. And let your feet hang to the wall, and then come back down, nice and controlled. And then just do this for reps and get used to doing this movement. Remember, always keep your shoulders in the right position even when you're doing these. You want to keep them engaged, slight protraction, elbows tucked and arms straight, like so. Make sure you try not to let your arms bend when you're doing it like mine did, but a lot of times that happens when you're first learning it and even a while after. It's just a habit that you have to break. Let's do it here. Like this. There you go. Alright. Once you get comfortable doing that movement and gradually just being in a handstand and everything, gradually coming off, you are now finally ready to move on to the most frustrating part of learning handstand, which is the attempts. I guarantee you are going to get pissed off really badly with this part, because you're just going to try so many times and you're going to fail a lot for days until you finally just get it. You're going to have times where you're going to finally get it for 5 seconds and then lose it, and then the next day you're going to be able to get it and not be able to get it at all. So basically that's what we're going to do. You're going to use that knowledge of squeezing and releasing your fingertips, keeping your shoulders in the right position. You're going to keep them engaged, slight protraction, and you're just going to do kick ups. Kick up into the handstand. See? And sometimes that'll happen a lot too. You'll fall over. And so you do this safely and you don't flip over. I've done that before, it's not fun. You want to make sure when you are going over, you kind of put your feet to one side, like the dismount, like this. So you'll go like that, just so you don't flip over and land on your back. So basically, you're just gonna want to make a lot of attempts of these, kick up into your handstand, and just hold. Sometimes you're gonna get a really good kick to where you kind of just settle in perfectly. Sometimes you're gonna go over and you're gonna have to really fight to squeeze, or you're just gonna end up going over where you're just gonna have to dismount. Or sometimes you're not even gonna get up at all, which is why this part of learning the handstand is very frustrating. But it's basically how you do it. You basically, at this point, you develop the strength, you developed the knowledge of the skill that you need with squeezing and releasing your fingers, just being in the handstand, how to position your shoulders. Now, it's basically attempt and fail until you get really, really comfortable with it over time, and it just gets a little better each day. So that's what you do. Just do that over and over again. For me, I don't remember how long it took me to learn my handstand. I just remember I started out with like wall walks and handstand shoulder taps, and then a lot of attempts. Basically, put my hands down, handstand kick up, handstand kick up. I remember one time I was doing handstand kick-ups for like 10 minutes straight, trying to get it, and I still didn't. And it was very frustrating. But now I can hold a handstand for like 20, 30 seconds just after a lot of practice. So that's all it takes. It takes time. It's going to be frustrating, but in the end, it's all worth it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this video helps. Peace.